So I want to go over what some former players who played under Jeff Hafley at both Ohio State and Boston College had to say about what they had to say about Hafley, sort of how he coaches, his style. And this was written by Joey Van Zumeren he wrote for Packers Central, and he had a few interesting insights from a few former players of Jeff Hafley. And I think it gives us a good idea of sort of the kind of coach Hafley is. We've heard a lot of what Matt LaFleur has said, what Hafley himself has said, and I do think that looking through these quotes, it does, really it makes it very clear, I think, why the Packers brought Hafley in. So here we'll start off here from Joey Van Zumeren says, for Boston College cornerback Elijah Jones, playing under Hafley for 3 years provided Jones with the utmost confidence and an adjusted perspective when trying to improve his play. I love Coach Haf, man, Jones said at the Combine. Great football mind. Biggest thing I think he helped my game was just how I learned about football. That it's not just going out there and playing the game. It's more about understanding your opponent, understanding how you're going to attack, and he was just a great teacher. Ohio State safety Josh Proctor is included in that group of Hafley pupils that benefited from the coach's teaching method. He just made it easy, Proctor said. He helped us just play fast. It wasn't too much thinking. We were able to be ourselves and put us in the right spot so we was able to go play. And that was the theme with Matt LaFleur's press conference, if you watched it, when he went over his thoughts on basically why the Packers decided to bring in Hafley, and also Hafley's press conference when he got hired here in Green Bay not too long ago. LaFleur was talking about his ability to communicate things, the complex things, and make them simple for players. And Hafley said that's sort of his goal, is to take these ideas, concepts from his defense and explain it in a way to his players that they don't have to think all the time and that they're able to just play completely free. And I think that was one problem the Packers were experiencing a little bit later this past season when they had that huge problem. LaFleur comes out, talks about the communication issues, the simple communication issues, and it seemed like for whatever reason, what Joe Barry was doing as a defensive coordinator was not really getting to the players in a way that they were able to really operate at the highest level. There were lots of communication issues, lots of problems, but both of these quotes from these two former players of Hafley show that he's able to make these make it simple. He's a great teacher. He's able to explain these things in a way that players are able to play fully free, not having to think. And I think that that's going to put this Packers defense in the best possible position. If you have guys like Quay Walker flying around, I think there's lots of speed and talent on this Packers defense. And if they can be unleashed and allowed to just play free, I think we're going to see a much better Packers defense. And if we look at what Preston Smith had to say a little bit after after the Cowboys game, Tom Silverstein of PackersNews.com shared this in an article a little bit after that. And Preston Smith said this: we're playing simple football, letting the guys play because we have playmakers. Obviously, we have young corners and young DBs that can play. We got guys up front, young guys and older guys, they can rush. When we're allowed to play free, a lot of big plays happen. A lot of success for this defense happen. I think it's been simplified lately for everybody so we can go out there and play at a high level, play fast, and do a lot of things. And a few weeks before that is when LaFleur came out and talked about the communication issues. And from that point on, LaFleur had said he was going to become more involved on the defensive side of the ball. And I do wonder exactly how involved he was, but there was at least a little bit more involvement than in times past. And it's just interesting that the Packers defense started to play a little bit better. And Preston Smith himself said there that they're playing more simple football. So I wonder if LaFleur's goal in that time when he was maybe being more involved with the defense was to make things more simple. And I don't know how Barry called plays or ran his defense, but it sounds like for whatever reason later in the year, it became more simple and guys were able to play free. And so considering that's what these former Hafley players have to say about Hafley himself says it, LaFleur says it, it sounds like, the Packers are going to be able to play a lot more free this upcoming season and not really be held back by maybe the complexity of a defense. And you'd assume that if that was a problem the Packers defense was experiencing, and that's what LaFleur wanted to fix, he found the guy who seemingly, at least is saying he's going to come in and do it. Of course, it's, coming in and making it happen is another thing, but so far, everything I've heard from Hafley, from LaFleur, from Hafley's former players, does get me excited for this Packers defense, who I do think has a lot of talent. No doubt we need to add a little bit more here in both the draft and free agency. But I think that this Packers defense, in my mind, is going to be better than last season. And honestly, we'll have to see, and time will tell. But that is it for this one. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.